The first time Aiden Carter saw Lily Anderson, he wasn't sure if it was admiration, curiosity, or something deeper pulling at him. But there she was, standing under the late summer sun, her laughter echoing across the schoolyard like a melody. Aiden had always been the quiet one, the boy who sat in the back row of the classroom, keeping his thoughts tucked away in a notebook no one else ever read. But Lily was different. She had a presence that lit up even the dullest of days. When she entered a room, people seemed to notice, not because she demanded attention, but because her warmth invited it. Her eyes held a kind of kindness that felt rare in the world, like she actually saw people, really saw them for who they were. And for Aiden, who often felt invisible, that meant everything. It wasn't long before Aiden found himself drawn into Lily's orbit. She wasn't in his close circle of friends. Truth be told, Aiden barely had one, but every interaction with her felt like a spark. A smile exchanged in the hallway. A simple good morning when she passed by his locker. Small things, maybe, but to Aiden, they were monumental. He never told anyone about the way she made him feel. Not his parents, who were too busy with work to notice much about his inner life. Not his classmates, who wouldn't understand. Instead, he kept it to himself, writing about her in his journal. Pages filled with thoughts he couldn't say aloud. The way her laughter carried, the way she tilted her head when she listened, the way her kindness seemed effortless. For weeks, he was content with this silent admiration. Just being near her, watching her live so brightly, felt enough. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. It started on a rainy afternoon. Most of the students rushed out of the building, umbrellas opening like flowers in bloom. Aiden stayed behind, waiting for the rain to soften before walking home. He was lingering by the library when he noticed Lily standing by the doorway, her books held close to her chest, staring at the downpour. "Forgot your umbrella?" Aiden asked, surprising even himself with the courage to speak. Lily turned, her eyes meeting his, and she smiled. "Yeah, rookie mistake, right?" Before he could second guess himself, Aiden held out his umbrella. "We can share." And just like that, they stepped into the rain together. The walk was quiet at first, the patter of raindrops filling the silence. But soon, Lily began talking about her classes, about the book she was reading, about how she secretly loved the sound of storms because they made the world feel alive. Aiden listened, occasionally adding a few words, but mostly just soaking in the moment. It was the first real conversation they ever had, and Aiden would remember it for the rest of his life. From then on, things began to change. Lily started greeting him more often, stopping to chat instead of just smiling. She'd ask him about his sketches. He was always doodling in the margins of his notebooks, and she seemed genuinely interested in his answers. Slowly, she became a part of his days, weaving herself into the fabric of his life without even trying. Aiden found himself opening up in ways he never thought possible. He told her about his love for drawing, about how he wanted to capture emotions on paper the way others did with words or music. Lily listened with a kind of attentiveness that made him feel seen. And in return, she shared pieces of herself too. Her dreams of becoming a writer, her love for stargazing, her fear that one day she'd chase her dreams too far and lose sight of where she came from. To Aiden, she wasn't just a crush anymore. She was becoming a friend, a best friend, even. And that scared him because the closer they got, the deeper his feelings grew. But Aiden kept them hidden. He couldn't risk ruining what they had. He told himself it was enough. Her laughter, her company, the way she trusted him with her secrets. That should have been enough. Yet, late at night, when he lay awake staring at the ceiling, he wondered what it would be like if she felt the same. What if one day she looked at him, really looked at him, and saw more than just a friend? He dreamed of it, but he never said a word. The months passed quickly, seasons changing around them. Their friendship deepened with every passing day. They studied together in the library, shared snacks during lunch, and sometimes, when the world felt too heavy, they sat under the old oak tree by the football field, just talking about life. For Lily, Aiden was a safe space. For Aiden, Lily was everything. But even in those happiest moments, a small shadow lingered in the back of Aiden's mind. Life had a way of being unpredictable, and some part of him feared that happiness like this couldn't last forever. One evening, as they sat under the oak tree watching the sky fade into shades of pink and orange, Lily whispered, "Do you ever feel like time moves too fast? Like we're trying to hold on to something that's already slipping away?" Aiden looked at her, memorizing the way the fading sunlight danced in her hair. He wanted to tell her then that he loved her, that he'd hold on to her forever if she let him. But the words caught in his throat. Instead, he said softly, "Yeah, all the time." And that was enough for now. Aiden didn't know it yet, but this was only the beginning of a story that would test the strength of his heart in ways he never imagined. Because sometimes, love isn't just about beginnings. Sometimes it's about surviving the endings too. Winter settled over the town like a soft blanket. Snow covered the sidewalks, and students rushed into school wrapped in scarves and coats. Aiden, however, didn't mind the cold. Not when Lily walked beside him, her breath visible in the frosty air, her cheeks flushed pink. They had fallen into a rhythm. Aiden would wait by the library after school, and Lily would join him. Sometimes they walked home together, sometimes they just sat in silence, watching the world go by. Aiden cherished these moments more than anything, but the more time they spent together, the harder it became to hide how he truly felt. His heart raced whenever their hands brushed accidentally, when her laughter lingered a second too long, when her eyes met his like she was searching for something. Still, he stayed silent, because in Aiden's mind, confessing meant risking everything. If she didn't feel the same, he'd lose the one person who mattered most, and he'd rather suffer quietly than lose her completely. Lily's secret struggles. One evening, while they were studying at the library, Aiden noticed Lily staring at her notebook without writing anything. Her usual spark seemed dimmer. "Everything okay?" he asked gently. She forced a smile. "Yeah, just tired." But Aiden knew her too well by now. That wasn't the truth. "You know you can tell me anything, right?" For a moment, she hesitated. Then she sighed and whispered, "Sometimes it feels like I'm falling behind. Everyone expects so much from me, grades, college, the future. I try to stay strong, but some nights I just break down." Her voice cracked, and Aiden's chest tightened. He wanted to take her pain away, to carry her worries for her. But all he could do was listen. "You're not alone, Lily," he said softly. "Even if the whole world expects too much, I'll never ask for more than you can give. I'll always be here." Her eyes shimmered with unspoken emotions, and for a fleeting moment, Aiden thought she might lean closer, might see him the way he saw her. But she just whispered, "Thank you, Aiden. You have no idea how much that means." And once again, he swallowed the words he wanted to say, "I love you." By spring, the whole school was buzzing about the annual dance. Aiden never cared for such events, but Lily was excited. She talked about the decorations, the music, and the silly traditions. "You're coming, right?" she asked one afternoon, tilting her head playfully. Aiden shrugged. "Not really my thing." "Then make it your thing." For me, she teased. How could he ever say no to her? The night of the dance, Aiden stood awkwardly in the corner of the gym, dressed in a plain shirt and tie. He fell out of place, surrounded by loud music and flashing lights. But then Lily appeared, and everything else disappeared. She wore a simple blue dress that flowed with her every step. Her hair framed her face perfectly, and her smile was brighter than the lights above. Aiden's breath caught in his throat. "You clean up nice," she said, grinning. "You look..." He paused, unable to find words big enough. "Beautiful." For a second, her cheeks flushed, but then she laughed it off, tugging his hand toward the dance floor. They swayed awkwardly at first, but slowly, Aiden found a rhythm. He wasn't a dancer, but with Lily in his arms, nothing else mattered. In that moment, it felt like the world had finally aligned. But when the music faded, reality crept back in. Because Lily wasn't his. She was his friend, his best friend, and that line remained unspoken between them. It was only a week later when the first crack appeared in Aiden's fragile world. He was waiting for Lily outside the library when he saw her laughing with someone else, a boy from their class, Ryan. Aiden had seen him before, confident, outgoing, the kind of person people naturally gravitated toward. The sight shouldn't have bothered him. Lily was free to talk to whoever she wanted. But something about the way she smiled, the way Ryan made her laugh, tore at Aiden's chest. When she finally walked over to him, Aiden tried to hide his feelings. "You seemed happy back there." "Oh, Ryan, yeah, he's funny," she said casually. "He asked if I'd like to study with him sometime." Aiden's heart sank, but he forced a smile. "That's great." She didn't notice the way his voice cracked, or maybe she chose not to. That night, Aiden lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if he had waited too long, wondering if maybe he had lost his chance before he ever took it. The weeks passed, each one heavier for Aiden than the last. What had once been a rhythm of quiet companionship with Lily was now interrupted by the constant presence of Ryan. It wasn't that Ryan was a bad person, far from it. He was friendly, easygoing, the kind of guy who could light up a room just by walking into it. But to Aiden, Ryan represented everything he was not, and everything Lily seemed to admire. At first, it was small things. Lily would laugh a little too hard at Ryan's jokes, or she'd casually mention that he'd helped her carry her books after class. Aiden would nod, pretending not to care, though every word burned like acid inside him. He told himself he was imagining things, that Lily's warmth toward Ryan was no different from the kindness she showed to everyone. But soon, the changes became undeniable. Lily started spending less time under the oak tree with Aiden. Instead, she lingered in the library, studying with Ryan. Whenever Aiden asked if she wanted to hang out after school, her answers became uncertain. "Sorry, I already promised Ryan I'd go over notes with him. Maybe tomorrow." Ryan said he could help me with the project. Every excuse was another crack forming in Aiden's heart. One late afternoon, Aiden finally gathered the courage to speak up. He couldn't keep bottling it in. "Lily," he said as they walked home together, "do you ever feel like we're drifting apart?" Lily looked startled. "Drifting apart? What do you mean?" "I don't know," Aiden muttered, kicking at the pavement. "You're always with Ryan now. I barely see you anymore." Her brows furrowed, and for a moment, guilt flickered in her eyes. "Aiden, you're my best friend. That's never going to change. But Ryan's, well, he's helping me with school, and he's really easy to talk to. I just enjoy being around him." The words stung more than Aiden could admit. He forced a weak smile. "Yeah, I get it." But deep inside, he wondered if best friend was all he would ever be. That night, his journal pages filled with the words his lips couldn't form. "I hate that I'm jealous. I hate that I'm scared. But most of all, I hate that I'm not the one who makes her laugh like that." One rainy evening, as they sat together beneath the oak tree, this time sheltered by a shared umbrella, Lily seemed more distant than usual. She wasn't her usual bubbly self. Instead, she stared out at the rain, lost in thought. "Aiden," she said suddenly, "can I tell you something? Something I haven't told anyone else." Aiden's heart leapt. "Of course, you can tell me anything." She hesitated, then sighed. "I've been feeling strange lately. Tired all the time. Dizzy sometimes. I thought it was just stress, but my mom insists I see a doctor." Concern etched across Aiden's face. "Lily, that sounds serious. Did you go?" She nodded faintly. "Yeah, they ran some tests. I don't know the results yet." Aiden's chest tightened. 1,000 worries filled his mind, but he masked them with a reassuring smile. "I'm sure it's nothing. Just stress like you said. You'll be fine." But her eyes told him she wasn't convinced. Over the following weeks, Lily grew paler, though she tried her best to hide it. Aiden noticed every detail. The way her laughter didn't carry the same energy. The way she leaned against walls as if she were too tired to stand. But Ryan seemed to notice too, and that made Aiden's chest tighten even more. One afternoon, Aiden arrived at the library to find Lily and Ryan sitting close together. Ryan was leaning in, his hand lightly resting on hers as she giggled softly at something he whispered. The sight was a dagger to Aiden's heart. He froze, unable to move, until Lily spotted him. "Aiden, come sit with us," she said cheerfully, but her cheer only deepened his pain. He mumbled something about having to leave early and walked away before she could protest. That night, the rain outside his window matched the storm inside him. Despite everything, Lily still sought comfort in Aiden. She still shared secrets with him, still looked for him when she felt sad or uncertain. But Aiden knew, he knew in his bones, that she was slipping away. One evening, as they sat beneath the oak tree, she reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were cold, fragile. "Aiden," she whispered, "thank you for always being here, even when I don't deserve it." His heart broke at her words. He wanted to say, "You deserve everything. You deserve me. You deserve someone who would never let you go." But all he said was, "I'll always be here, Lily. Always." She smiled faintly, though her eyes shimmered with unshed tears. And for the first time, Aiden realized that her sadness ran deeper than anything Ryan or anyone else could fix. The results from the hospital came sooner than expected. Lily didn't tell Aiden right away. She wanted to keep their moments light, filled with laughter, with shared memories beneath the oak tree. But Aiden sensed it, an invisible wall, a weight she carried silently. And then, one night, she finally broke. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Aiden, I'm sick. Really sick." His world stopped. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice trembling. "They found something," she choked out. "The doctor said it's serious. I don't know what's going to happen." Aiden pulled her into his arms, holding her as if he could shield her from fate itself. "I don't care what it is," he whispered fiercely. "We'll get through it. Together." But deep inside, he was terrified, because for the first time, he realized the true meaning behind Lily's earlier words. "No matter what happens, you'll always be a part of me." They weren't just casual musings. They were a warning. And Aiden wasn't ready for what was coming. Aiden sat alone in the empty classroom, the faint echo of laughter from the courtyard drifting through the window. He didn't need to look outside to know it was Lily and Ryan. The sound of her joy, once his greatest comfort, had become the sharpest reminder of everything slipping away. When Lily walked in later, her cheeks flushed with happiness, Aiden forced a smile. "You seem different lately," he said quietly. She hesitated for a moment, then laughed nervously. Maybe it's just Ryan. He's been really kind to me. We've been spending more time together," and Aiden's heart clenched. He wanted to scream, to beg her not to say what he already feared, but his voice came out soft and broken. "And you like him?" Her silence said more than words ever could. She didn't confirm it, but she didn't deny it either. That night, Aiden walked home under the heavy weight of reality. His footsteps echoed against the pavement, each one dragging with the knowledge that Lily was slowly slipping through his fingers. He sat at his desk, staring at his journal. His pen hovered above the page before finally scratching down the words. Maybe love isn't about holding on. Maybe it's about knowing when to let go. Tears blurred the ink, staining the paper with a heartbreak he couldn't voice. The next day, Lily met Aiden under their oak tree. She looked pale, her usual spark dimmed. "Aiden," she whispered, her voice trembling, "I don't want to hurt you. You're my best friend. You've always been my safe place. But I think my heart is leading me somewhere else." Aiden swallowed hard, forcing his trembling hands to stay still. "To Ryan." her eyes filled with tears. "I don't want to lose you." He smiled, a fragile, breaking smile. "You won't. Even if it hurts, I'll still be here. For you." That night, however, the pain was too heavy. For the first time, Aiden felt truly invisible in Lily's world. He wanted to scream into the emptiness, to let the world know how unfair it felt. Instead, he found himself walking aimlessly through the streets, lost in thought, replaying every smile, every laugh, every moment they had shared. Each memory felt like glass shattering inside him. When he returned home, he stood by his window, looking up at the same stars they once wished upon together. His voice cracked as he whispered, "Why wasn't I enough?" And though no one heard it, the night seemed to mourn with him. The days grew colder, and so did the space between Aiden and Lily. She still smiled when she saw him, still spoke to him with warmth, but it wasn't the same. Her laughter belonged more to Ryan now, and Aiden. He had become a shadow in his own story. One evening, the sky darkened with heavy rain. Aiden was on his way home when he got the call, Lily's name flashing across his screen. His heart raced as he answered, but it wasn't her voice. It was Ryan's, broken and frantic. "Aiden, it's Lily. There's been an accident. Come to the hospital. Please, just come." The phone nearly slipped from his hand. His legs carried him faster than he thought possible, his chest burning as the rain soaked through his clothes. The hospital lights blurred through his tears when he finally arrived. Ryan was there, pale and shaken, his clothes stained with blood. She was crossing the street, Ryan stammered. "A car. It came out of nowhere. I tried to reach her, but..." His voice cracked, and he couldn't finish. Aiden didn't wait. He ran through the sterile hallways until he found her. Lily lay on a hospital bed, her body fragile, her skin pale, wires and machines surrounding her. Her eyes fluttered open when she sensed his presence. "Aiden," her voice was faint, barely a whisper, but it cut through him like lightning. He took her hand, clutching it as if holding on could stop time itself. "I'm here," he choked out, tears streaming down his face. "I'm here, Lily." Her lips trembled into the faintest smile. "You've always been here. You always cared, even when I didn't see it." "Don't talk like that," Aiden begged, his voice breaking. "You're going to be fine. You have to be. Please." Her hand squeezed as weakly. "Promise me you won't let this be the end of you. Promise me you'll live, Aiden, even if I can't." His sobs shook his entire body. "I can't live without you." "You can," she whispered, her eyes closing slowly. "Because you were my forever." And with those words, her hand slipped from his. The monitor flatlined. The world around him fell silent, but inside, Aiden was screaming. He held onto her hand, refusing to let go, even as the doctors tried to pull him away. His tears fell onto her lifeless skin, his cries echoing through the sterile room. That night, Aiden sat alone beneath their oak tree, the rain still dripping from its leaves. He opened his journal, but for the first time he couldn't write. He just stared at the blank page, the ink trembling in his hand. Finally, he whispered into the silence, "You were my forever too, Lily." The wind carried his words into the night, as though the universe itself mourned with him. And in that moment, Aiden realized forever wasn't about time. It was about the love that lived on, even when the person didn't.